This is a special report here at exam.com. Thanks for joining us. We'll be having a closer look at the Canadian election coming up. I'm Christina Marujos, and joining me today is Senior Investment Analyst Marios Hadjikyriacos. Prime Minister Trudeau threw a curveball, really, Marios, when he called an early election, but it appears to be backfiring for him as the election outcome is really too close to call or even predict. Therefore, what are the likely scenarios here, and what is at stake?
Hello, Christina. Well, you're absolutely right. Trudeau took a massive gamble and it hasn't worked out for him. So he was looking to capitalize on Canada's vaccination success and his government's handling of the economic crisis. He was riding high in opinion polls and he thought this was an easy victory, essentially. Now, since he called the election, he has lost his lead in the polls. The polls are now too close to call, and he could very well lose this election because he has really struggled to explain to the Canadian public why another election was needed in the middle of a pandemic. Now, the main difference between the two candidates, Trudeau and his conservative opponent, Erin O'Toole, is their spending outlook for the Canadian economy. So Trudeau would essentially spend much more on a government level, whereas O'Toole has promised to balance the budget within 10 years.
And now turning to the Loonie, it looks that it's waiting to take its cues from the election outcome. Would the Canadian dollar benefit from a Trudeau victory or loss?
Well, I think it would benefit from a Trudeau victory. So if Trudeau wins, that would mean greater government spending in an environment where the Bank of Canada might also be raising rates next year. So when you have massive government spending coupled with the rising interest rates, that is a very beneficial cocktail for a currency. Now, if O'Toole wins, I think the Canadian dollar could take a hit, but not a massive one. Yes, the probability of spending cuts would be greater. That could hit economic growth. He also wants to ban foreign investors from buying houses, which implies less demand for the currency as well. But I think that any hit is going to be minor because there would also be better chances of tax cuts and also of deregulation. Now, in the bigger picture, I think that the outlook for the Canadian dollar is quite positive. Even if it takes a minor hit on an O'Toole victory, any spending cuts are far away, the economy is doing very well, vaccinations are very high, and the Bank of Canada, of course, will be among the first major central banks to raise interest rates again.
We have to be patient until Monday for the Canadian election. Marios, thank you very much for joining me today. This was a special report here at exam.com.